What's up, everybody? We finally got the third installment of ATUM, the third kind of piece in the Smashing Pumpkins conceptual album, Autumn, that had 3 albums that released over the span of like 6 months or so, something like that. I've done reviews on the first part and the second part, and I will leave those links in the description of this video, but long story short, they weren't very good. And so going into this third part here of 11 songs, I have zero hope that this one is going to magically be the successor to Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness that Billy Corgan teased when he first unveiled this concept or this album. So let's get into it. All right, the first track, Sojourner. The album opens up with a fanciful string and piano arrangement befitting of this space odyssey that Billy Corgan has put together. You can tell already that the mix is exactly the same as the other 2 albums, with Billy's voice being too high in the mix. Lyrically, Billy is already diving headfirst into this nonsensical story that he's woven over the previous 2 installments of the ATUM concept. I liked the string work on this song, but nothing else about it is really doing anything for me. This is a longer song at almost 8 minutes. In the last third of the song, the music switches up to this whimsical 70s synth suite with Billy coming back in singing another lackluster vocal melody. If you weren't paying attention, you would think this song had changed into another song, but no, it's still the first song. It's just really long. Track 2, That Which Animates the Spirit. Hey, cool. A song that rocks. I've definitely noticed a pattern of these songs that rock on the Autumn albums. The style of the rock riff is usually the same. It's usually something like this. I feel at this point he's like, all right, let me drop some breadcrumbs for those pathetic nostalgia addicts who liked all my previous work, those filthy casuals. A mildly interesting note about the lyrics regarding this song, Corgan is actually referencing Zero in the lyrics, the protagonist in their first concept album, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. I still don't see how this was a concept album, but okay. Revisionist history is what I call it. Anyway, this song, track 2, was just okay. Track number 3, The Canary Trainer. God damn the titles of these fucking songs on these Autumn records. Billy's addiction to cheesy-sounding vintage synthesizers has not yet been broken and probably won't be until this album cycle is completed. The song feels lukewarm, like it's missing something. This feels like a bed track that was meant to be completed later on, but never was. As I read the lyrics, it becomes clear that Billy Corgan has a very capable command of the English language, and even though this concept album takes place in some advanced outer space-like setting, his lyrics come across as some D&D nerd LARPing at a Renaissance fair, with phrases such as, quote, on the treen, fetch the reed, that was drunk of mild and meek, embittered tears as only cruels ever sever thee. Because, you know, galactic outer space language is very similar to that of 14th century philosopher parlance. Oh, parlance. That's definitely a Billy Corgan word. He's turning me into a nerd! Let me listen to Bodies real quick to cleanse my palate. Okay, that's better. Track 4, Pacer. Next. Track 5, In Lieu of Failure. Okay, now we get a modern-day Jimi Hendrix-inspired rocker that sounds like a retro 70s guitar riff but has modern-day production. I almost don't mind the dorky Renaissance fair-style lyrics given the more exciting and immediate music underneath. God damn, these albums are confusing, though, because they just dump so much crap on you that the good songs get buried and overlooked. This song is pretty decent, but part of me wonders if I'm only saying that because it's so much better than the previous 2 songs that I'm just willing to take anything that's not those sounds. Track 3, or track 6, I don't know where my brain's at right now. Track 6, Cenopath, another unfinished sounding song, typical boring autumn fare. Next, track 7, Armageddon. Okay, an awfully titled song, sounds like one of Billy's wrestling promos, but the song itself actually rocks, but the mix is shit. The guitars sound great, but the drums sound like ass. I had this Digitech guitar effects pedal when I was a teenager, and they had these like generic rock beats that you could play along to that were obviously made by a drum machine, and that's exactly how these drums sound on this track. God, the tone and obvious synthetic nature are so obvious. Billy's vocals are dry as a bone as far as any kind of reverb or effect. The guitars need to be louder in the mix. Billy's voice needs to be quieter. And there needs to be real drums. And if those drums are real, I will be amazed. We get a kind of guitar solo towards the end of the song. This song honestly might have been able to be saved by a better mix. Track 8. We have Fireflies. Okay, so we just got a rocking track, so you know old Billy's got to follow it up with a slow, whimsical synthesizer odyssey because being consistent musically is just something Billy refuses to do these days. Track 9, Intergalactic. On this track, Billy actually randomly does a cover of the Beastie Boys song Intergalactic. No, I'm just kidding. I wish. No. Coming in at 9 minutes, a Bohemian Rhapsody or Master of Puppets, this song is not. It's an arpeggiated synth odyssey that sounds like it could definitely be the background of a bad 1970s sci-fi movie. Did I mention it's 9 minutes long? Towards the middle of the song, some actual drums come in and we hear some nice distorted guitar harmonic minor scale bits. Think of Egyptian or Arabic sounding melodies. It's kind of like that. It's an interesting and much appreciated change-up. As the song plays out, however, these ideas aren't really expounded upon, and the whole damn thing just gets monotonous. Although the song does end with some pretty tasty tom work from Jimmy Chamberlain, kind of one of the few times in the record that he's allowed to kind of shine. Track 10, Spellbinding. This song must have been the early release, the single, if you will, because it's already got over 1 million plays on Spotify, and all the other songs haven't broken any mark yet to give you any play indicator. But yeah, this song is definitely the most single-worthy track on the album. The verses sound kind of like something you would have found on Machina. The chorus just sounds like a solid, like, alt-pop rock song. It's almost got a Keep on Rockin' in the Free World feel to the chorus melodically. I'm hearing some Queen influence on the guitar work. Solid track, I reckon. And then finally, we've reached the last song of the 33-track ATUM experience, and it sounds like some experimental piano ballad that one would find off of a William Patrick Corgan album with lyrics that make no sense to anyone besides Billy Corgan. So what are the final things Billy has to say to us before this whole ATUM thing wraps up?
O Agnus Dei, Deus, 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 la 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 la. Every time these skies turn gray, la 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 la. Every time these skies turn gray. Every time these skies turn gray, oh Clementine, oh Clementine, oh Clementine, Lord help us shine, oh Clementine, oh Clementine, oh Clementine, Lord help us shine.
So overall, this album is just as lackluster as the first 2 installments of ATUM. I don't care one bit for this new musical direction, and I'm still in disbelief. The same man who gave us such gems as Siamese Dream, Melancholy, Adore, Machina, and Zeitgeist is also the same one who gave us Monuments to an Elegy, Shiny and Oh So Bright, Seer, and now this newest installment in the Museum of Bland, ATUM. Billy really needs to let go of the wheel a bit and let a producer step in and filter out a lot of these shit ideas that keep making it onto Smashing Pumpkins records. Look, I'm always going to be down for some Billy Corgan weirdness. Hell, Adore was not a heavy album by any means, but I love every single song on there because there was clearly so much thought and care that went into every song. Many albums these days, and not just Smashing Pumpkins, Many albums these days suffer from laziness and a lack of experimentation. ATUM is an album that 110% feels like it was made on Pro Tools. But then take a song like In the Arm of Sleep off their 1995 album Melancholy. Did you know that to make that odd dulcimer sounding noise that runs throughout this entire song, Billy took a 12-string guitar, strummed an E minor chord, and slowed the riff down 50% to give it that stretched out otherworldly eerie sound? Do you know how little fucks he gives to try and do something like that now? And that's just one of the problems. The mix is shit on his new stuff. His vocals are way too high and way too dry. What I mean by dry is there's no kind of reverb or anything. It's just a direct feed of his loud vocal towering over the guitars, drums, everything. He does not have the voice for this to work. I played the song Quiet at my gig last night from their 1993 Siamese Dream album, and I couldn't believe just how low his vocals were in the mix. After tolerating his new way of mixing his albums, it was refreshing to hear his ass in the back of the mix instead of the front and center. Then, finally, it's the songwriting. Whether it's the esoteric lyrics that only Billy understands, the complete neutering of Jimmy Chamberlain as a drummer, or the lack of any kind of melody, ATUM is a slog. I get some people defending these albums, and I honestly wonder what strain of cannabis they're smoking because there's no way they are sober. And finally, I have to stress this point again. And I say this a lot in my videos, especially about like double albums or albums that I feel are too bloated. If they had just taken the best 3 or 4 songs off of each one of these ATUM albums and made one album instead of 3, he might have had a pretty good album. But the decent songs are spread way too thin amongst the crap songs, and it loses me every time. I think, oh, maybe I'll give ATUM Volume 1 another listen, or Volume 2. And then I'm just like, no, I know what's in store for me, and I'm just not going to do it. Look, I'll always be a lifelong Pumpkins fan, but man, what a bunch of disappointments lately, especially the fucking hype train on this. The statements that were made of, oh, this is going to be a sequel to Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, and even Machina, which isn't my favorite Pumpkins album, but is a hell of a lot better than this album. So anyway, again, we're finally done with this reviewing all these new Pumpkins albums. What did you guys think of this one? I had people speculating all kinds of stuff on this third one. You know, I had people saying, oh, he's saving all of his rock stuff for the last one. You just wait. It's going to be really good. And I just knew that wasn't true. And, you know, I still find it fucking weird that Beguiled was like the one big single that they released from all 3 of these albums and made a music video for, and the whole 9 yards. Even though the music video looked like it had a very small budget, they still put the effort into it. It just makes me wonder, like, why that song? And if that was like the best song off of all 3 albums, why did you put it on Volume 2 instead of Volume 1, or even Volume 3 and make people wait, you know, for the best one or whatever? The whole thing confuses me about that. Like, were none of the other songs on either of the other albums good enough to warrant making a music video or anything? I mean, those are good promotional tools. And God knows the Pumpkins need all the promotion they can get these days if they're trying to peddle their new stuff to a new audience. Which, honestly, I don't think Billy is. I don't think he cares. And that's, at the end of the day, the ultimate problem. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, share. Until next time, have a good rest of your night.